I'm going to read two quotes and a poem of David's. But also I want to say that one thing, when I first met David, when I was a student at Sonoma State, he showed instantly there was more to poetry than E. E. Cummings. And there was a whole universe of poetry, and for that I'm eternally grateful, because it's ongoing and it's never exhausted. That creativity is never exhausted. It's just amazing. And also in the past few years here, and decade or so, with my daughter Megan and David's daughter Margaret being the same age and kind of growing up together and riding horses together, and Cecilia and Sue, when the kids got a little older, weren't in the house all the time. David and Cecilia would come for dinner. David and I would sit on the easy chairs while Cecilia and Sue made these gourmet meals. And David and I just got to drink wine and sit around. It was great. And anyway, the first quote here is from Rabbi Abraham Heschel. Wonder or radical amazement, the state of maladjustment to words and notions, is a prerequisite for an authentic awareness of that which is. The state of maladjustment to words and notions, and I think David had that. I don't mean it in a negative way. Well, sort of. Mostly, one time he said he couldn't understand the bicycle, because it's impossible to have a bicycle work. Just the idea of it, that if you see one, you can't sit on it, you fall over. It has to be in motion, and I think that's what he was talking about, that it's something about movement. But this poem I'm reading is from his book called As in Tea, As in Tether. I think it was about 1999 or 2000 that it came out. And what I like about this poem is it's not the abstraction of language poetry that freaks some people out. It is and isn't. It has connections, and I think the connectedness of David was always the great thing. It's called Establishing 11, A Spill. And so the band plays on. The pianist is rapt. The score talks back. Half got by heart, half incoming light in small circles of these familiar squiggles, rendering each here a vessel, sensuously readied, a receptacle where feeling rushes up or in at the clever hands of this notorious quartet. Outside, the sky at night, at solstice, no different to my eye than 10 years ago this date, filled then with the resolve to see it through, this composition that shows me how myself has altered, an old man's feet to walk on. An old man's feet to walk on, an aging skin the major key to what's not changed. Although beside me sits a daughter nearly grown, and next to her a man recalling all he didn't find time or shape for, all he gave up for this, pebbles in the pitcher till the brim is reached. This is a quote from Kandinsky, the painter, from a journal of his. I was like a monkey in a net. Only with great pain, effort, and struggle did I break through these walls around art. Thus did I find the realm of art, and finally enter the realm of art, which, like that of nature, science, and political forms, etc., is a realm unto itself, is governed by its own laws proper to it alone, and which together with the other realms ultimately forms the great realm, which we can only dimly divine. I think David is part of that great realm.